Hello and welcome to Kinder Monday number 7, lucky number 7. My name is Todd Simon. I'll be your host with Kinder Mind Hypnosis. The question this week, of course, is my favorite. They're all my favorite, but this one really speaks to me loudly because it's something that I've dealt with for a good part of my life. And the question is, can hypnosis help with anxiety? An overwhelming yes. Anxiety is something I know inside and out. It's something I've suffered from in my 20s and early 30s. And I have a great deal of knowledge, and hypnosis is one of the best tools in dealing with it. So let's start off with understanding what anxiety is, especially with the holidays here. A lot of people get anxious around that time. Anxiety for me is leaving the present moment, projecting a future horrible moment, and living there. It could only happen in the future. You can't be anxious right now with what's happening. It's having your mind leave this present moment, leave your body, and go to the future, which is why it feels so overwhelming and sometimes dizzying, because you're literally leaving your body behind. You're moving into the future and you're creating a catastrophic event in the future that hasn't happened and more than likely will not happen. It's creativity turned negative, projected into the future. That's what anxiety for me is. Like I said, you can't have it and be present at the same time. It has to be projected into the future. You're always anxious about something in the future. You can't be anxious about something right now. You're projecting into the future. There's fear involved. Some people believe fear stands for false evidence appearing real. For me, it stands for forgetting everything about reality. You are literally abandoning reality, the present moment, the support you have, and trading it in for a thought about a future horrific moment. So here's how, isn't that pleasant? Here's how hypnosis can help. First of all, in the cognitive portion, we have to understand the genesis of it. When did it first start? What are the triggers? Because we're going to use that for desensitization. Tell me about what you're anxious about now. It's tough to ask someone what they were anxious about last year because most anxiety doesn't end up at being reality. So I can't say, like, what was I anxious about last year? Because it probably never happened. So what are you anxious about now? What are the triggers that happen? Something I use in cognitive as well is borrowed from the work of Byron Katie. If you're not familiar with her, she's an amazing teacher, has a website called thework.com. Check it out. What it is it basically looks at your thoughts and stops them. A lot of times we think if we have a thought, it's ours, it's in our head, it's got to be true, it's got to be real. So what the work does is you take the thought, let's say in this example, the anxiety is around someone taking the GRE, the entrance exam for graduate school, and their fear is they're going to take it, they're going to do horribly, they're not going to get into graduate school, their parents are going to disown them, and they're going to end up homeless. You know, creativity is a big part of anxiety. You cannot be anxious without having some level of creativity. So we could use that later to the advantage, knowing that your client who's experiencing anxiety has a creative mind. So let's say that example is it. So we'll take the example of your parents are going to disown you. So the mind just believes it because if it has the thought, it believes it's true, doesn't stop it to question. It's a very fast jettisoning process, jettisoning process that the mind does to create anxiety. So we stop it for a moment. Is it true? Can you absolutely know it's true? Your parents will disown you. And you allow the person in the cognitive section to just sit with that. Is that true? Most likely, no. They get to know and they get to sit in the truth of no. My parents won't disown me if I do bad on the test. Just that is a big relief to know that a lot of your thoughts are not even true. And we know thoughts have energy and we know thoughts create material things. So we have to really be the monitor of our thoughts. Just because we have thoughts does not mean they're true. So that's the cognitive. Now we take it to the hypnotic portion. A great thing for anxiety is dealing in a very slow and long progressive relaxation. The person who has anxiety is out of the present moment and they're out of their body. It's only in the mind and it's a projection into the future. A slow, nice, progressive relaxation brings the person back into their body, allows them to begin to relax in their body. So you're doing two things. You're allowing them to relax and you're allowing them to come back in the body, which they've left, during anxiety. So just that could be a session, a 20-minute long progressive relaxation where you're going through each body part, you're releasing and relaxing and allowing them to feel the comfort of their body, which they had left during the anxious moments. The next thing we can do is an arm rigidity. So anxiety is a thought. It gets stored in the nervous system, in the muscular system, and is held as such as tension. So if we can release that residual tension from old anxiety and from current anxiety, that is a big relief. So again, we can do a long progressive relaxation. Think about all the anxiety you're having right now, all the fear. Hold it, let it go. And return to a more present state. And letting go of that energy is very important because otherwise it can manifest into body syndromes. So the next thing we can do is desensitization. From the cognitive portion, we found what their triggers are. We found what it is. Say in this example, it's they're fearful of taking this test, this graduate school test. Let's go. Okay, you're driving your car. Let me know when you become anxious. Raise your finger. Boom. Just getting in the car. Anxiety. Breathe 3 times. Imagine something different. You can again use the playback mechanism. If you could have them recall when they were anxious first about this subject, you could have them again be in the movie theater playing it from the director's standpoint on the projection screen. They're sitting in the audience. Play it as you would like it. Desensitization, going through all the steps where anxiety comes up and helping them to release it. And then from there, we create a different future. We know that they are creative because they have anxiety. So let's use that to our advantage in imagery. So now let's go back. You're in the car. Imagine you just love driving and you're so looking forward to driving there. Feel it. Now, I like to anchor it into something material. So in this particular case, I use this a lot for athletics and athletes, and I have them bring their equipment in as well. If they have a writing instrument that they know they're going to be using, bring that in. Have them put it in their hand during this portion. Okay, you are now sitting down. Feel like what it's like to sit down in that seat with your pen in your hand. Now what I like to do is have them recall a time in their life they felt extreme confidence that they did something great, amazing, so proud of themselves. Recall that, recall that, recall that. Feel it in your bones, in your body. Use all the senses. And when they're at the peak of that, and you'll know based on their physiology, they might even have a smile on their face. Let's say in this example, it's like, oh my God, I won the science fair in 7th grade and I got the trophy. And when they announced I was the winner, my heart opened, I took a breath, I felt amazing. And in that moment, feel the pen in your hand. And so you're anchoring the feeling that they've already had in their life of doing great and pride and being proud and feeling confident, and now they're anchoring it into something material in their hand, the pen that they'll be using. So automatically, subconsciously, when they grab that pen, they're automatically, subconsciously going to feel confident, feel like they've already done a good job. So we create the imagery from beginning to end. You wake up in the morning, you feel great, you take your deep breaths, you know you've done all your work to do well on this test, you've taken the practice. You drive there, you feel light, you do something maybe between parking and getting into the building that you look at the sun, you look at the clouds, something that's empowering, and you empower them throughout the process until it's over and they're done and they fill out the last question. They feel so confident. You're creating a beautiful image of a future reality, which is the exact opposite of what anxiety is which is creating a negative image of the future. I hope that has helped. There's so much we can do for anxiety, and there's so many people with anxiety, and it's a pleasure to be able to work with people with anxiety and have the skills we have as hypnotists to help. Again, thank you for watching. I hope it's helped. If it brought up more questions for you, feel free to ask. Comments, questions, always appreciated. Thank you so much. I wish you peace and a kinder mind.